What's going on YouTube? So Fiat once offered an expansive lineup of quirky cars here in the US. However, they largely discontinued their entire lineup. But now we're with the reintroduced Fiat 500, which is now the 500e electrified model. So does this funky and cute city EV make sense to buy? Well, let's go ahead and find out. So let's get started here with the exterior design. Now obviously, the Fiat 500 just has that distinct Fiat 500 look. They didn't really mess with it much for the new generation, although since it is electrified now, you can see certain differences, such as the fact that the grille is largely closed off now with just these two chrome accents and then your 500 branding across the top. Down here, your lower fascia is open up with kind of a square mesh going on through there. Now, there's not really any real trim levels of this vehicle. They're just design themes that you can choose. What we have here is the Inspired by Beauty theme. I don't know what beauty it is inspired by per se, but as you can see, it does have special colors, such as this rose gold, which is very distinct and I think actually looks really kind of cool on this vehicle. Now, in terms of your lighting, you do have full LED lighting. This is a projector LED. You've got this separated daytime running light in a circle here, and then down below you also have a circular turn signal indicator. Now, as far as the wheels are concerned, you do have a 17-inch alloy wheel. Again, it has kind of a funky design on board with a contrast look and kind of sparkles of silver throughout. Above that, you'll notice a little Easter egg. You have the Italian flag inside of that housing there. And in terms of our mirrors, we do have power adjustment, and we also have blind spot monitoring.
Now here at the side of the 500e, you are noticing that we just have two doors, and as far as overall vehicle length, it's a very short 143 inches long. This may actually be the shortest vehicle that we've ever reviewed on the channel. They don't have a four-door variant of this as of the time of us reviewing this. And as we head around to the back of the 500e, we have a very cute look, kind of matches with the front. It has that signature Fiat design. And as far as some of the individual elements, we have a spoiler up top, wiper right here. Fiat branding is kind of very prominent right there. And then you have your 500e branding that's finished in a nice blue color. Now, your taillights are actually quite nice. I'm surprised to see that they are full LED. So you have an LED brake light portion and LED turn signal. The reverse light is not going to be LED, though. That's integrated down here in the bumper area. Of course, it's an electric vehicle, so there are no exposed exhaust outlets, and towing is, of course, not recommended for this vehicle. Now, as far as your safety systems are concerned, there are a handful of them as standard equipment, so you can get those on the 500e. But there's a very unique interior that we need to go ahead and dive into, so let's get into that. But first,
if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, let's go ahead and check out the unique interior. Here's the key fob. It does have 500 branding on it. It's a cute little key fob as well. And you do have smart entry on board. So you just grab underneath this door handle. There's a little capacitive pad. You just pinch that to open up the door. All right, and go ahead and check out the interior. Obviously, this is going to be, very fashionable and very cute overall, and that really starts with the seats. As you can see, these seats do have this very unique stitching, so you actually see Fiat spelled out over and over in the stitching itself. This is a really cool touch. 500's up here at the top. The seat itself on this Inspired by Beauty trim is going to be finished in a leatherette. The seats themselves, though, will always be manual adjusting. There's no memory seats or anything like that. And let's go ahead and climb inside. I'll go ahead and reach over here and close up the door. Let's look at the rest of the materials inside. So, again, a leatherette trim is going to be all through the armrest portion. I will say it appears that this is easy to stain in terms of the seat and this because it is a light color and it's already getting kind of dirty. Top part here is going to be a hard touch plastic. As we move to the upper dashboard, this will be a hard touch plastic, but the center section is going to be finished in some type of cloth here. It kind of feels similar to what you have, like maybe patio furniture. And then down below, you have a gray accent running through there. Let's go ahead and fire it up. Feel it. Now let's go ahead and fire it up with our push button start. And now that it's fired up, let's take a look at our gauge cluster first of all. This is a 7-inch display. This is your digital gauge cluster. You can change a few elements of the overall design on board. Of course, it does have things like your range over there on the side, which we'll talk more about that number a little later on. Now, as we come back to the steering wheel, this is definitely my favorite part of the interior. We've got that two-tone cream and black finish. It is a two-spoke and it's flat bottom. It feels pretty nice in the hand. The wheel itself is manual tilt and telescoping. Now, turning over here to our center console area. We can first open up our center console here. It's very skinny, but it is quite deep, and you have a little liner down there at the bottom. You also have another pit right here where you can stick a few items such as a phone charger, and you do have a USB and a USB-A, or USB-C and a USB-A, excuse me. And then over here is really just a big open space, so you can use this for anything that you want. Right now we have, a Dr. Pepper in there, but you can actually fold this up if you have no drinks and you don't need a cup holder. Now, of course, you can have that space because we have a push-button style shifter up at the top. Just press D for drive. There's no paddles on the steering wheel, of course, as an electric vehicle. And then in reverse, you can see our standard backup camera. There's no 360 camera option or anything like that, but you do have active trajectory on board. Then back behind that, you have your electronic parking brake as well as your drive mode controller. And then over here is the roller knob for your audio system. Now, there is an available JBL sound system, but you have to buy the Inspired by Music version of this. This is the Inspired by Beauty version, so that's going to just get the base sound system. Now, taking a look at our climate controls, we've got a single zone automatic setup. Nice piano black buttons that you can easily make all your adjustments to your zones as well as your temperature. When you make those adjustments, it appears on our 10-inch display. So this display does have a Uconnect system on it, so it's kind of the latest and greatest version of that. As you can see, it does have some special things for your battery consumption and keeping track of those things. You can adjust your climate inside of here. We have a built-in navigation, and you also have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. This does have heated seats, by the way, as well, and you can turn that on right there. Above, we have an auto-dimming mirror, no HomeLink remotes, and then there is no available sunroof. But one of the things I like, when you turn off the vehicle, you get kind of a little Christmas tone, I think.
Now, even though this is not 4 doors, that doesn't mean it doesn't have 4 seats. So let's go ahead and dive into the rear seat area. So in order to get back here, you just pull this little lever that allows you to slide the seat up and out of the way. And let me carefully climb back here. All right, so I am 5'9" for reference. This is Drew's 5'8" driving position. Not too spacious back here. As expected, though, as far as overall legroom figures, we're looking at about 29 inches of legroom, about 35 inches of headroom. So definitely my head is hitting the ceiling and I don't have any additional knee room, but my feet can slide up underneath the seat, so that is nice. We have a cup holder as well. As far as other features, there really aren't any. We do have a little bit of a hard armrest on the sides, but overall, it's not a horrible place to spend time. I would just say that don't expect 2 people to be fitting back here for a longer trip. Let's see how much cargo capacity we have. We do have a manually opening tailgate. That's across all of the models. And then as far as the space is concerned, we're looking at about 7.5 cubic feet behind the rear seats here. Now, of course, you can fold these down if you want to have extra space. I imagine that might be what most people end up doing. We don't have an official cargo measure on that, but it honestly doesn't look like too bad of an amount of space with those seats folded down. Definitely good enough for the average person that would be buying a vehicle like this. But, it's time for us to go ahead and get this Fiat 500e out on the road. And I do want to point out, for those of you that know this is an electric product. We do not have any space under the frunk to store anything, so just want to make that clear. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the Fiat 500e. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing the things you can see on the screen right now. But first, we want to go ahead and start by giving you a hard acceleration so you can see what the performance is like on the 500e. All right, there's an acceleration up to about 50 miles an hour, going a little bit downhill in the 500e. Now, when it comes to the powertrain experience, this, of course, is a full electric vehicle. We pointed that out a couple times during this review, that now the 500 has became fully electrified. So what we have on board is a 42 kilowatt hour lithium-ion battery pack, which that is a very compact size for an electric vehicle. And as far as overall horsepower, it's 117 horsepower. So, honestly, it's not overly slow. For something, with this price tag and, in this segment of vehicle, honestly, I feel like the gasoline options normally feel a little bit slower than this.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I thought this was going to feel really, really quite slow when we were going to take it out on a spin, but very impressed actually with the acceleration, because 117 is not a lot, but this is also not a lot of car, right? So overall, at the end of the day, kind of cancels each other out and feels kind of spunky, especially with the instantaneous electric torque.
Yeah, it's only about 143 inches long, so...
Yeah, it's enough to push you back in the seat.
Yeah, certainly not bad at all. The power is definitely not anything to be concerned about. We have not actually reviewed a Fiat 500 in its gasoline form before, but...
Which doesn't exist in the U.S. currently anymore.
Yeah. But honestly, I figured this is probably overall a better experience. And, while we're just kind of on this little twisty road, I want to go ahead and talk about just overall driving experience. Now, coming from driving other vehicles that are quite a bit larger than this, I have to say it feels very tossable. That's one of the pros of having a cute little car like this. It's 143 inches long, and because of that, it feels very much like driving a compact vehicle that is very tossable and kind of fun to drive around a little bit.
Also, it kind of feels like you're in a bubble, because the visibility of the windshield, you can't see the hood at all either, so you got a lot of glass around you, and it just kind of feels like you're in a little bubble, and you're just right there on the road. A little electric
go-kart that goes pretty fast. Now, another thing I'm noticing on the screen right now that's pretty cool is, as you live accelerate and drive along, it is telling you your EV consumption. So, right now we're actually regenning. It's a -1, -4 kilowatts of energy, and our climate is using 1 kilowatt. So Fiat's kind of helping you to drive in a efficient manner here with the 500e. Of course, that's going to be important because the range is not fantastic. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but it's important to have a lot of efficiency, and that's kind of what this car is designed around.
Yeah, and over here it has a constant estimated to 100% reading going on, so it's telling you if you go ahead and charge it, here's how long it's going to take with those types of chargers to get you back to 100%. Right now we're at 96%. And, let's go ahead and talk at the range. That obviously is kind of a number that looms over top of this model, especially here in the U.S., because, Americans, we like to drive, and we drive long distances. And a lot of people say they're not, comfortable maybe having an EV with less than 300 miles. Well, this actually has about half of that. We're looking at an EPA rating of 149 miles. So this is definitely designed as a city vehicle. So you're supposed to just, be using this for short trips, going around town, charging it back at your house. This model here was actually showing a little less than that.
Yeah.
When we took it at 100%.
It was 135 miles was what it was estimating on a single charge, which obviously it's going to depend on your situation. That's not going to work for everyone. But what I do think is good about this car is if it's just another accessory vehicle. Maybe you have a larger vehicle that runs on gasoline to take your long road trips in. This is perfectly fine to run around town, go get groceries, that type of thing. You're going to have plenty of range for those activities. And we're on a really, really rough road here, so I think that's a great time for us to discuss ride quality. Here with the 500e, for an affordable vehicle, I have to say I think the ride is pretty darn good. This is actually an awful road. This is like the worst condition that you can possibly think to drive on. We've driven this in a couple different vehicles at this point, and honestly, for an affordable vehicle, I'm pretty impressed. I don't know about you, Drew, but it rides pretty nice.
Not too bad. This obviously has small wheels, so that certainly helps. It's a small platform, so that can be, kind of challenging sometimes to isolate out the bumps. So, we're not saying, of course, that it rides smooth like an S-Class per se, but of course with the small wheels, it overall does isolate out really large imperfections. Alright, let's discuss some charge times, because that will be an important part of ownership with this vehicle. Level 1 charging, which most people probably don't do, it's going to be about 37 hours from 5% to 100%. Level 2, which is what you'll probably have in your garage, is going to be 6 hours, and that's from 0 all the way to 100%. This does have 85 kilowatt fast charging though, and if you're charging at a DC station, that gives you 35 minutes, 0 to 80%.
Yeah, and I like you said, it actually will tell you, the live figure of how long it thinks it will take, depending on what charge network you're using. And let's go ahead and discuss our Car Confections Slam Dunk and Airball, which is our favorite and least favorite element about the 500e. Drew, why don't you kick us off with the Slam Dunk?
So for the Slam Dunk, we're going to say it is the design. It's very distinct. It's, of course, that signature 500. Nothing else has that look. And it's, honestly, it's super cute. It really stands out, especially in like the rose gold color. Yeah. And I can imagine a lot of people would kind of just like that kind of fashionable design.
Yeah, I mean, like Drew said, nothing else is out there looking like this. So if you like the design, really you don't have that very many options. Mini Cooper or this probably. Now, on the Airball side of things, what we're going to say is the price. Now, I know we haven't gotten to this part of the video yet, but as this today, we have a starting price of $36,000. And I have a problem with that because for 36 grand, you can really get a lot of other vehicles, including something like a Tesla Model 3 is barely any more expensive than that. And you're not going to get a tax credit on this 500e. So I really feel like this car would have excelled at a much more affordable price tag. But as it stands now with the $36,000 price tag, I think it's going to be a little bit of a hard sell.
Yeah, it's hard to justify the range figure when the price starts with a 3, that's for sure. Yeah. And lastly here, if you're wondering what type of warranty does the 500e have, it has a basic warranty, which is 4 years or 50,000 miles, and then the electric powertrain componentries are going to be backed up by a longer 8-year and 100,000 mile warranty.
And now let's go ahead and talk about the pricing for the 500e. So the red, which is the base version of this vehicle, starts at $32,500. The Inspired by Beauty and Music will both be $36,000 as a starting point. So a little bit more expensive than you might expect for a vehicle of this size. But if you're looking to buy a Fiat 500e or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. And guys, that's going to wrap up our in-depth review of the 2025 Fiat 500e. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, which we hope you did, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to get more car reviews like this. We have a ton of car reviews in this channel that I'm sure you won't want to miss out on. So do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button. If you're already part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.